Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 222. I am Brendan. All right, UFC 284, Volkanovski versus Makhachev. Holy crap, this was a banger. This was a banger. We will get into this in just a second. We're going to cover the main card here. If you're looking for the prelims, it's going to be in the next video. This is going to cover Makhachev versus Volkanovski, Rodriguez versus Emmett, Maddalena versus Brown, Tafa Porter. We're going to cover the main card here. Real quick, before we start getting into it, breaking it round by round, if you like that kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out. I cover the UFC, Bellator, all that good stuff. All right, let's talk about the fight because I got a lot to say about a lot of this stuff on this main card and the horrible judging. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. All right. Islam Makhachev getting the win over Alexander Volkanovski. Okay, so I was not a fan of this. If you watch my episode when I mentioned it, I'm not a fan of what this does to the divisions. I'm not a fan of the buildup to this. I was not a fan. So I wasn't looking forward to this in any particular way. I had no expectations. I don't even know. I had very little excitement about the fight itself because I was more preoccupied about what it was doing to the divisions in the UFC, both the lightweight division and the featherweight division. Boy, oh boy, I'm so happy to be wrong. I'm so happy to be wrong. Not even wrong, but like instantly I became more excited when Volk showed that he could defend a takedown and that he could bang in there with a guy who probably outweighs him on fight night by like 20 pounds. This is a great showing for, honestly, both men. I don't want to downplay Islam's accomplishments before this, but I do want to get into what we saw in here round by round. But overall, I think this spoke more to how good Volkanovski was than the holes in Islam's game. Although there are some, and we saw them. Who's going to be able to take advantage of them, though, right? So that's the thing. So there was a tentative start in this first round. Alex was rushing in. Really nothing was landing early on. Islam was standing. He wasn't doing too much. He got hit by a left hand that it seemed to stagger him a little bit. It was more that he got pushed off balance. Islam ended up dropping Alex for a second. Again, when we saw on the replay, though, it didn't really drop him. He was off balance as well. It didn't land clean. Islam was really sitting back. He was really waiting on Volkanovski to enter, and he would counter. He ends up getting a takedown, getting the back, getting a neck crank for like the last 30 seconds. Alex was giving the shaka as the round was ending, so saying like, "Hey, I'm good, I'm here." Fine. So the first round clearly Islam's, no question there. 2 minutes and 4 seconds of control time. As far as the striking numbers go, Volkanovski slightly ahead on the significant strikes. So in an alternate universe here, let's say it doesn't go to the ground. All right, let's say it doesn't go to the ground. That's Volkanovski's round. Or it could be Volkanovski's round. Sorry, it could be Volkanovski's. But it wasn't. It was Islam's. But that first round does loom large in the overall scorecard because of what happens later. Or not because of what happens later, because of the scores, right? Two judges had a 48-47. Second round, Volk was the aggressor. He was making this fight fun. So in my opinion, this second round really showed me, the first round did as well, but because of the tentative start, it didn't really give me the idea of what this fight was going to be yet, because in the second round, I got it. Volkanovski's going to be the aggressor. He's going to put himself in dangerous positions. He's going to get in there. He's going to try and hit him. He's going to try to go for takedowns. He's going to be the guy going for offense. And Islam is going to be the one who's going to stand around and wait and play counter. So Volkanovski could have played the same game Islam was, wait around and try to counter as well, and we could have ended up with a real Adesanya, Yoel Romero, Ngannou, Derek Lewis type situation here, where we have very little strikes thrown and nothing really going on in a real boring fight. But Volkanovski didn't let that happen, okay? So if you want to congratulate anybody about how exciting this fight was, yes, give it to both men for being a part of it, but Volkanovski is the reason because he was the aggressor. and him putting himself in those situations, he clearly practiced for that. Second round, 19-19, right? Close on the total striking numbers. Volk hit Islam, and then Islam got in on a single leg. Volk beat him to the next position. Holy shit, that was huge. It was beautiful. Volkanovski was in on the clinch. Volkanovski landed a really good knee, but then Islam Islam ended up rocking him with a left hand in this round. Volk was sticking to the body. He was pushing in on the clinch again. Volkanovski was landing really good hooks to the body, long looping hooks to the body to reach him, because that the height difference and the reach difference, it was in Islam's favor significantly. I still give this second round to Islam. He rocked Volkanovski, and he had some control time. So if you look at the control time here, it's I think it was almost dead even. Yeah, round 2, 57-53 in favor of Islam. Right, striking numbers 19-19 in favor of, or it tied, right? But who was the aggressor? Who threw more? It was Volkanovski. If you look at the total strikes, I think they were probably in favor. Nope, total strikes were even too. But again, Volkanovski's the guy who threw more of them, so more offense means you are the aggressor. Although Makhachev did land a takedown, and he was down there momentarily. But I gave that second round to Makhachev. No questions here. No arguments in favor of Volkanovski. Third round. Islam was landing the kick to the body. Volkanovski was landing hooks to the body as well. He kicked the leg really freaking hard and almost kicked him off balance. That was awesome. Islam was in on a second takedown attempt. Volkanovski was out of it. He kept pressuring against the fence. He was pushing Islam against the fence. He was the aggressor in the clinch, and he was able to control Islam's posture for significant portions of this fight. That's incredible. Incredible. If Islam is the best wrestler in the 155 division, which I'm not making that argument here, I'm just saying if. And I think the argument could be made, and I don't know who would argue against it, but let's just give me that, right? So let's say Islam is the best 155-pound wrestler in the UFC. Who's taking down Volkanovski at 145? Who's doing stuff to Volkanovski at 145? This guy's a fucking animal, man. So good. Islam was there was a nice trip from Volkanovski at one point. He put the pressure on Islam. Islam was shaking his arms out in the end of this round. The striking numbers do not bear out how this round went. It does say 16-14 in favor of Makhachev, but in the round 3, he did land 3 more, apparently, to the head. One of those leg kicks from Volkanovski was more impact than I think Islam had on any of the body stuff or the leg kicks that he had in that round. Volkanovski did more damage in this round, and I don't want to hear it. Right, control time in round 3, basically nil. Yes, there was offense technically because Islam went for a takedown, but the control time is virtually even, and nothing happened because of those takedowns. So outside of anything else, they don't count for anything other than positional changes. So 35 seconds to 29 seconds in favor of Makhachev in terms of control time. I went with Volkanovski in this round. I thought it was pretty clearly him. Fourth round, normally I would say it was kind of boring, but there was this nice jab from Volkanovski. He's landing really well. Islam got in on a takedown in the middle of the cage, got to the back and got the body triangle in. Volkanovski made a mistake in the transition there, and he was talking to Islam's corner instead of paying attention. Did that lead to the body triangle being slapped on? Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't matter. That position was held for the rest of the round. You can see for 3 minutes and 25 seconds, Makhachev had the back, was trying to go for cranks. But if you will look at the striking numbers here in round 4, the total striking number should be in favor of Volkanovski, and they are. And those strikes were punches like this, right? He's punching them behind his head. So if, again, in a weird world where those pity pat damage add up to more than what Islam did and the control that he had, maybe you give him round 4. I didn't. That's crazy. So Islam was up 3-1 in my opinion, and Volkanovski needed a finish. And boy, oh boy, this last round, oh my God, it did not disappoint. Oh yeah, and Volkanovski was talking to Makhachev pretty much the entire time. He was yelling at him. He was punching him, saying, "Come on!" In this fourth round, I had Islam up 39-37. So Alex's corner was so technical in between the fourth and fifth round. I just noticed it. It really stuck out to me. Just how specific they were about technique and what they're looking for. And it wasn't the usual, hey, come on, you got this, or hey, you need to work hard, or go for this. It was very technical, very specific. I don't remember all of the things, and that should tell you something about how specific it was, is that I don't remember all the things. There was a lot of information in that corner. So that was pretty damn cool. It was freaking beautiful to me. There was a great left hand from Islam to start the final round, but then Volk ended up overextending on a strike. Islam landed a takedown. Volkanovski got right back up. Dude, Islam was getting tired in this fight. He was getting tired in this last round. He still gutted it out and was able to fight through it. Volk is just a fucking monster. Islam was looking at the clock. There was a right hand from Volkanovski that hurt him and put him down. He ended up getting into the guard and landing some ground and pound. Islam had a closed guard. He was not looking for offense. He was riding out the clock, knowing he had it won, but he didn't want to risk anything else. Holy shit, Volkanovski made him look stupid in that last round, to be honest with you, with how aggressive he was, how he was able to do. He was trying to take Makhachev down. If you look at the control time here, Volkanovski was on top for 1 minute and 33 seconds. Islam was in control for 36 of it. But Volkanovski got on top in that round, kept him down there at the end of the fight, and just tried to unload. And you know what? For about 90 seconds, he was really trying to do stuff. He was hitting to the body, trying to go upstairs. He was doing stuff on the ground, trying to finish the fight. This last round is inarguably Alexander Volkanovski's. So I had it 3-2, 48-47 in favor of Makhachev. And if we look at the official scorecards here, Ben Cartledge and David Leatherby both have it exactly that way. Derek clearly is the only dissenting judge. Well, I'll get into it in the next video that I'll post tomorrow. There was some pretty horrible fucking judging. There was horrible judging, and it pisses me off. It pisses me off. I don't want people looking back on this. It didn't end up affecting the overall decision, so it's not okay. It's less historically important, let's put it that way. Because when you look back, right, when people look at the Wikipedia page or the ShareDog page, they see unanimous decision, right? It's not going to make a difference. But a 49-46, no, man. You got to go watch that third round. And some people are actually giving Volkanovski the second round. I don't agree. Islam won this fight, guys. He did. And I give full credit to both guys. Holy shit, though! This was a great cap to a great card. There was so many good fights on the prelims. It was fun to watch. They really brought it. It was great. I don't know if it was the environment. I don't know if it's just luck of the draw. We got some really good fights to watch because it wasn't all just knockouts. Right? There were good fights that went the distance. It's fun to watch. Real quick, let's touch on where we think these guys should go. You guys let me know, what did you guys think of the main event? Oh, also, if you're looking for a specific fight, they're timestamped down below. Let me know what you guys thought. What did you guys think about this fight? Did you think Volkanovski won? Did you think Islam destroyed him? Do you think Islam was tired? What do you think about all that stuff? Where do you think you guys are going next? I'll tell you where I think they're going to go. So obviously we had Yair Rodriguez, which I'll talk about next, win his fight in getting the interim belt. So he should be next for Volkanovski, and Volkanovski was as respectful as it gets. All business, talking after the fight. Let's get it over with. Let's get it done. I think he comes out there. I don't make predictions anymore. I don't talk about that crap. Doesn't matter. I think it's going to be a fun fight. I'm excited for that. So obviously that's next for him. I think Arnold Allen and Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega, I think, is just got bad timing. Also, real. We'll talk about it when I get to the next one. Now, what's next for lightweight? Okay, so what did Islam Makhachev say? He said, "I want a real challenge, not a fake challenge." What the hell does that mean? I don't know if it's lost in translation. I don't know if it means what I think it means is he wants somebody who really deserves the title shot, not just somebody that they're propping up to make money or whatever, meaning they don't want Conor McGregor coming in here and fighting for a title, or he doesn't want Conor McGregor coming in fighting for a title. But guys, we got it. I can't keep harping on this every time. Beneil Dariush, he's on a 6 or 7 fight win streak. It's time. It's time. Justin Gaethje I love him. He's my favorite active fighter to watch. Love the guy. Does not deserve a title shot right now. Dustin Poirier obviously does not deserve a title shot right now. Charles Oliveira just lost. Michael Chandler well, no. He's probably going to be doing Ultimate Fighter, so this ain't happening either. Fiziev has a fight coming up. Is he fighting Dariush? No, I don't remember who he's fighting. He might be fighting Dariush. But anyway, that's probably where that goes. If they're fighting oh no, he's fighting Gaethje. Great. So that's happening in March. Why don't we book this now? Because that puts us what? That's next month. Gives it like 3 months to build. Beneil Dariush is waiting. I think, unless Makhachev is super hurt or something, I think that's the way to go. I just, when but now. Just give him the goddamn title shot. Yeah, great fight. I think Volkanovski. Oh, god dang, I almost forgot. So this fight was getting billed as the pound for pound great. Oh my god. I guess we'll look at the rankings for that crap because it's so stupid, but whatever. There's the rankings. Volkanovski was 1. Islam Makhachev was 2. Anyway, I understand I might take this too seriously or I'm taking it too literally, but that's what if words don't have meaning, then why have them at all? This was billed as, let's see who the pound for pound best is. That's not how this works. It's not. Let me explain. Could Islam Makhachev make 145 pounds? If he can, and they fought at 145, and Islam beats Volkanovski at that weight, now you can make the argument that he is the pound for pound best, because when they weigh the same, right, when he goes down to the optimal weight, because can Volkanovski make 135? No, probably not. But he's a champ at 145. So if Islam goes down to 145, they're the same weight. It's the lowest weight that they both can make. Now we know. But Volkanovski weighs less than Islam. Right? It is what it is. Yes, yesterday they weighed the same, but that doesn't mean that today they weighed the same. And I don't mean that in they're weight cutting and weight cutting affects everybody and some people cut more weight than. It's not what I mean. Volkanovski is a smaller fighter, and I don't want to hear any stupid arguments otherwise. Okay? Now, if this was a one-sided beatdown, right? Let's say it was a one-sided Khabib-style beatdown for 25 minutes, then sure. Maybe we can make that argument that maybe Makhachev is the pound-for-pound best. Or if he outright knocks him out in the second round after just toying with him in the first round, again, you can make the argument that Islam Makhachev is the pound-for-pound best. But when you have a fight as close in moments, where a few moments dictate the entire outcome of a 25-minute fight as it did, and the way it ended with Volkanovski dominating that last round, and every moment being competitive, all that says to me in terms of pound-for-pound rankings is that Volkanovski is in the right ranking spot. He is number 1. because and then when Islam's explanation should show exactly that. He says Volkanovski has good striking, he has good grappling. He just needs to work on. No. From what I saw, based off of what you could, I mean, if you disagree with me, let me know why. But from what I saw in the striking department, Volkanovski looked like the more technical striker trying to work his way in. And yes, in moments he got sloppy, but I think that was from overextending because he was trying to overcome that size difference. So, okay, let's say they're even in striking. Let's just say that. And then in the grappling department, I would say on the ground, purely on the ground, Islam has the advantage. But strength-wise and overall grappling ability mixed with a full-length fight, I think Volkanovski clearly held his own and was close enough to show me that the difference between the two really is their weight. I think Islam's power comes from the fact that he has more mass and he doesn't have to throw with the same kind of speed or as hard, right? He doesn't have to physically exert himself as much as Volkanovski was to land with the same amount of power. I'm not making excuses here, right? I've already accepted, and I agree. Islam Makhachev was the better fighter today, or last night, whenever you're watching this. So he was the better fighter. Great. But that's what that means. Exactly in the scenario is exactly what that means. Pound for pound means for every pound you put on someone, how much damage are they doing with it? How many skills do they have with each pound that they are doing with it? Or each pound that they have. Meaning, let's take the extremes. If you took someone like Brandon Moreno and sized him up proportionally to be a light heavyweight, would Brandon Moreno beat Jamal Hill? All skills, movements, and everything else being equal. Or not equal, the same for each fighter. Absolutely, Brandon Moreno would beat the shit out of most light heavyweights. Light heavyweights don't move that fast. They don't have that kind of cardio. That's why the pound-for-pound ranking system kind of breaks down. But the lighter guys have a huge advantage when it comes to that stuff. And now these guys are only separated by one weight class. But Islam Makhachev barely made weight for this. He's a big dude who has to cut a lot of weight to make 155. Volk is also pretty big, but he makes 145. The pound-for-pound ranking system is inherently stupid. The arguments are inherently dumb. And I'm not trying to get in a dumb argument with anybody. But when you have a guy who is clearly lighter, who can clearly make a lighter weight class, right? Just adding weight onto him, because here's my last part, and then I'll leave you with it. If you put 50 pounds on Volkanovski on his current frame, would he beat Jamal Hill? Yes or no? Probably not, right? So then that's obviously not what we're doing with pound for pound type of stuff. That's not what we're doing. Okay? It's just in this scenario, because they're only separated by 10, we get to make those mental gymnastics. And we say, oh, well, it's only 10 pounds. They're basically the same size. They're not. 10 pounds makes a bigger difference. We're talking about, what, 7% of your body weight at that point? 6% of your body weight? It's a lot. 10 pounds, once you get to heavyweight, now you're talking about 3% or less of your body weight. Yes, that's less significant. Okay, moving on. I just wanted to touch on that. I remember I was watching the fights with my friend again. Shout out Hassam. What's up, bud? First fan, loyal fan, been there from the start. Love you, brother. No, I was talking with him, and we just got into it about the pound for pound ranking system and how it's kind of stupid. All right, let's talk about Yair Rodriguez. Jair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett. Say it as white as possible. Uh, Yair getting the finish in the second round. God, this guy's good, man. I was down on him a few years ago. Arguably correct. I was correct in my criticisms at the time. Okay, if you go back and look at his record, I was correct about those criticisms. Now, recently, my criticisms with him are also correct, but I've also acknowledged the fact that he is very different than he was 5 years ago. This guy has improved so much, and he is a horrible matchup for Josh Emmett. This fight, holy shit. It's fun to watch, too. So, this first round, actually, let's check out the scorecards, but there's a leg kicks from Yair that were landing pretty well, but I thought that was going to be the key to victory for here. Turned out it didn't go long enough to need it, but Yair landed a great shot to the body. It hurt Emmett early. Yair was staying on the outside, picking Emmett apart really well. Emmett landed a hard right hand. It dropped Yair. He ended up staying on top, landed some ground and pound. This first round was pretty close. So if you look at the control time in this first round, it went to Josh Emmett for 1 minute 27 seconds. He did get outlanded 26-12, so that should sway you towards Yair. But if you realize that even though Yair landed that body shot, it didn't drop Emmett, and Emmett dropped Yair. So arguably, that's closer to finishing the fight. Now, when you go back and watch it, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was live, but judges and me, like, we don't have the benefit of that. You don't have the benefit of that when you're watching it live. So I thought that was a knockdown. Turned out not to be. That's okay. I gave that round live to Emmett. Knowing what I know now about the striking numbers and how hard that strike was, I'd probably still lean towards Yair. But I gave it to Emmett. I figured the damage evened up with that knockdown, and the fact that he had control time put him over the top. As he did land some nasty elbows and shit on the ground, too. Like, those ground strikes were pretty nasty. Second round, Emmett landed a big right hand again, but Yair landed a knee. Holy shit, that looked good. It was really hard. Right elbow from Yair hurt him again. Emmett was taking so much damage in this fight. Even from his back, Yair was landing great elbows, and then Yair uses the fence with his toes to lock up a triangle choke. It was momentary. I'm not going to hold it against him. I don't think he didn't do it on purpose, but it did affect it a little bit. It's not as bad as Oliveira's cheating shit. And he locked up a triangle choke and got the finish. Holy shit, what a performance from Yair. Yair does, obviously, he's going to be going to fight Volkanovski. I think he has a great chance to make an interesting fight. We'll see about, leading up to it, how it goes. Based off what I know, I still favor Volkanovski in that fight. But let's go back and look at Yair's career. So these earlier ones, what the heck? Why is there a belt here? Verdum and Hunt fought for a belt. He didn't. The heck? Good grief. Anyway, that's weird. All right, so Leonardo Morales, good question. Charles Rosa, that split decision win, and it's a win that means nothing to me. Rosa has been getting smoked for years. Win over Dan Hooker. In retrospect, that's pretty impressive, huh? And yes, that's what Dan Hooker was sucking down to 145, so he was diminished, and we saw he looks much better at 155. So, great. Great win over Andre Fili. I remember that fight. It was excellent. And Andre Fili went on to he's gone on to have a competitive career in this division. Alex Caceres, again, gone on to have a competitive career, and Yair looked great in this fight. BJ Penn, this is a nothing win. It means nothing. It shouldn't be on here. No need to talk about it. Then he goes up and gets smoked by Frankie Edgar. Takes him down, beats the shit out of him. Chan Sung Jung, he was losing that fight. Okay? He was losing this fight. This is why I wasn't impressed with Yair Rodriguez, is he clearly needed to work on his takedown defense and his offense from the ground. He just wasn't very good there. And yes, Frankie's good, but again, just he's not good there. Then he goes up against Chang Sung Jung, who's a kind of a brawler and can get kind of crazy too. And he was able to beat him for freaking 24 minutes and 59 seconds, and then he lands a Hail Mary elbow. Yes, it's cool and it's awesome highlight, but looking at what that means for him as a fighter, does that speak to the quality of his output over an extended period of time? No, it does not. So I did not agree with that. The Jeremy Stephens one, this was a nothing. And then, yeah, he beat Jeremy Stephens convincingly before Stephens gets cut. And then he comes up and faces Max Holloway. And yes, people like to point at like the first couple of rounds in this. He didn't win a single round in terms of significant strikes. People were saying like, "Oh wow, look, It got worse as the fight went on. Max Holloway really put a spanking on him in that fight. Now, this does not mean I didn't think he was good. This one, when he fought Max Holloway, I realized how good Yair was. He has made a ton of improvements in the past. I mean, he hadn't fought in 2 years. Made a ton of improvements over the past 7 years. The guy has become a completely different fighter. He hits insanely hard. He's as creative as he always was. He's determined, hardworking. His cardio is great. He's aggressive off his back. His jiu-jitsu is good. His takedown defense is still yet to be determined because Josh Emmett really didn't attempt any. But if you can't get close to the guy, you can't take him down. So his distance management has become fantastic. His win over Brian Ortega, he was beating the shit out of Brian Ortega anyway, and then Ortega's like, "Oh, come on, Yair, you know you don't want to win like that." That bullshit. He was beating you before your freaking shoulder popped out, and he was in an offensive position. I don't want to hear it. If you work your way and you want to fight him again, you're more than welcome. But that was a good win. So here's where we are with Yair Rodriguez. He is currently going to be the interim champion in a division where the guy ranked below him has a recent win over him. Weird, huh? And he didn't have to beat him to get there. Weird, huh? It's just crazy how MMA math works out. It just is. And it's unfortunate for Max Holloway, but it's just Max Holloway, he held the division over. God, if he had gotten the title just a little bit earlier and then eventually lost it to Volkanovski, oh, man. Just a few more title defenses before, because the way he took over and the way he just has been smoking people, he just happens to be in the same division as and at the same time as one of the greatest of all time. That's what Volkanovski is. To me, I don't care how short of a career it's been so far, but Volkanovski's his career has been incredible so far. You cannot argue anything but. I refuse. These two, fine. Shane Young, all right. Jeremy Kennedy, working his way up. Convincing win over Darren Elkins, fantastic. Especially back in 2018, that when Elkins still had somewhat of a chin. The knockout of Chad Mendez, fantastic. Beating the crap out of Jose Aldo. And then getting the convincing win over Max Holloway, the controversial win over Max Holloway, then the spanking he put on Ortega despite the 2 times he was being choked. Okay, for 24 minutes of that 25-minute fight, he was beating the shit out of him. It wasn't even close. Chan Sung Jung, that was almost murder. I can't believe that was legal. And then the most convincing win I've ever seen anybody against Max Holloway. Holy crap, that was crazy. The way he just put it on him in their last fight. This run right here is as impressive as anything else I've ever seen in the UFC. Especially in a talent-rich division like this with some of the most competitive guys, some of the guys who can get you, like Brian Ortega, right? Brian Ortega might not be the most consistent fighter. He's not the best fighter in the division by any stretch of the imagination, but he can get you. Like, he can catch you, right? That's why it's hard to have a run at heavyweight. It's because you got so many guys who can just get you. Like, they can catch you with one good shot, and then, damn it. And then now you might beat them. You might beat them 8 times out of 10, but that was one of those 2 times. Kind of the same thing with Ortega. You can beat him. You can beat up on him as long as you mind your P's and Q's. You can beat him, 6 times, 7 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10 if you're Volkanovski and you don't need oxygen like the rest of us. And it's just he can catch you with that choke and get you one of those times. So, he's avoided those things. He's avoided the losses up until now, and his only loss so far in the UFC is going up a weight class against another guy who's had an incredible run in the UFC with only one loss. And the way he beat everybody else, right? Nick Lentz is a good win. Gleison Tebow is a great win, especially for the time. Cajun Johnson is a whatever win, but it's a good win. Arman Saryukin, great win. Davi Hamos is a great win. Drew Dober, in retrospect, obviously a great win, especially the way he just toyed with him. Thiago Moises, that's a great win. Dan Hooker, fantastic. It was short notice, but hey, had to go through it. Bobby Green. Oh, that Bobby Green was a short notice one. Charles Oliveira, amazing win over a guy that they're posting to be a Hall of Famer now, and then beating Alexander Volkanovski, right? This guy is on pace to be one of the greatest lightweights of all time. His resume is going to rival Khabib's, if not be better, in maybe 2 more fights, right? And I'd have to look through to make sure, but I'm pretty sure his resume is going to stack up. And that's Volkanovski's only loss, and it wasn't a blowout. It was a competitive fight the entire time. You got to be kidding me. Volkanovski's one of the greatest fighters of all time. He just is. And now his career might end up getting short and he might not have the resume to back it up. But as of right now, as it stands right now, I think he's fantastic. Yair can go in and smoke him, but I think he's got a good chance here. All right, let's move through these next 2 fights here. Oh, this video's getting long already. Oopsie. Sorry. Jack Della Maddalena versus, is it Maddalena? Yeah, Maddalena versus Randy Brown. Randy Rude Boy Brown. So Randy was throwing some slaps early in this fight. That was interesting. And Randy was like poking and moving and staying on the outside, and then Maddalena landed the right hand, and Brown went down. He took the back and made him tap within, how long was the fight? 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Holy shit. This guy's legit. Ange Lusa, Pete Rodriguez, Ramazan Emaev, Danny Roberts is a good win, and Randy Brown. That's a great win. That's a huge step up in competition from Danny Roberts is pretty good, but doesn't have a chin. So this is a great step up in competition. The way he was able to catch him and just kind of walk through him. Maddalena, he's legit, man. He's real good. I'm excited to see where he goes in this division. 170 is it's fantastic. I'm excited to see, plus these Australians, they are fun. They are fun. I mean that in the best way possible. I really do. I'm being genuine. Justin Tafa versus Parker Porter. Got some sloppy heavyweights here, especially Parker Porter. He's just built like some of the members of my family. Let's put it that way. Hits hard, big guy, fine. He's a heavyweight in the UFC. That's fine. It is what it is. I've said my piece on the talent level in order to get to the UFC heavyweight division. Justin Tafa, on the other hand, he kept it real tight. Porter was swinging really hard, swinging for the fences, and Tafa just put his lights out with a tight left hand. So as Parker was swinging big with that right hand, Tafa took a step back. He was backing up, kept his eyes wide open. I love when I see that from fighters, keeping their eyes open, looking for the counter shot, and he didn't even really plant, but he stopped his momentum slightly and dug in and just bam right on the chin with that left hand. Oh, beautiful shot from Justin Tafa. Oof. Beautiful, beautiful shot. Fantastic. Fight didn't last very long. It was only 1 minute and 6 seconds, so not much else to go over, but Justin Tafa looked great. And then we shall talk about the first fight. Jimmy Crute versus somebody else. Jimmy Crute versus Alonzo Menifield. Boy, what a way to start off this card. Holy shit. And, we also get to talk about some decisions because I'm interested who the judges were on this one. Leg kicks from Crute seemed to be doing some good stuff. Crute was pressuring hard, and he got a takedown. Crute just going ham. They just started trading hooks with each other. Crute actually had more control time in this first round with 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but then Alonzo Menifield gets up. They start to trade, and holy shit, Crute got rocked. Like, Alonzo Menifield caught him multiple times, rocks him, gets him down on the ground. Somehow he survived, but that was Alonzo's round, hand down, not even close. 132 of control time for Menifield near the end of that one. Striking numbers, look at that. 23-10 in favor of Menifield. Again, not even close. Good round for Menifield, standing in there, slanging and banging. Second round, both guys were exhausted. Alonzo was landing the jab. He was doing a ton of damage. Jimmy landed a knee, but both guys were so sloppy because they were so tired. Jimmy somehow got a takedown. He ended the round on top, going for a rear naked choke, but he absolutely got wrecked this second round. He took so much damage, got rocked multiple times. 25-10 as far as significant strikes. Control time, 2 minutes and 23 seconds as opposed to 1:30. And even with that minute 30, Crute wasn't doing anything of significance. So third round starts, and clearly Menifield is up 2-1. He's up 20-18. There's a nice fence grab from Alonzo to stop the takedown, and Mark Goddard took a point immediately. Thank you, Goddard. All right, I've had my criticisms of his decisions in the past. He has stopped fights a little bit early, a couple times. That's fine. But let's bygones be bygones. He took a point immediately, and this, my friends, is why you have to take a point. This is why you have to take a point. Jimmy Crute was down 2 rounds. In this fight, Crute worked for a single, he ended up getting the mount, took the back. He went to half guard. Crute spent the whole round in control, which made it a 10-8 because the point got taken, which was I had it a tie. So if you look at the total striking numbers, they were 11-8 in favor of Crute. If you want to look at control time, 3 minutes and 54 seconds of control time. This will be important later. We will come back to this. Remember this number. Almost 4 minutes. 80%. It's okay, 78%, 76%, whatever. No, it's higher than that. 77, 78% of the round was spent with Crute on top, landing damage. So, no, not on top, but in control. Sorry. And he landed more punches. And he did more damage. So, real quick, this is why you have to take a point, is because this was an overall, it was a majority draw. 2 of the judges had it 28-28 is how I saw it as well. This is why that's so fucking important, guys. This is why you got to take a point immediately. Because Jimmy Crute loses this fight if that point isn't taken. Essentially, he gets punished for Alonzo Menifield cheating. If Alonzo Menifield gets a warning, he gets rewarded. Now it's a draw. This is real effective punishment. Immediate punishment. So now Menifield doesn't get to cheat to win. Because that's what it was. He stopped a takedown, and we saw once he got taken down in this last round, he was controlled there the whole time. So now imagine he does it, just gets warned, doesn't have a point taken, the fight continues as is. And let's say he doesn't get taken down because of that. Even if he loses that last round, doesn't matter. He wins. And he cheated to do it. Now, obviously, it was a reactionary thing, and afterwards, he wasn't bitching about it, none of that stuff. Jimmy Crute, they were very respectful. This is not to denigrate Menifield's character at all. I don't know if he has a history of it. I'd have to go through and look at my notes for all of his fights. I don't know if he has a history of grabbing the fence. Okay. I don't think he's a bad guy. He doesn't come across like that. Whatever. Also, Jimmy Crute was like, I got been hit by a lot of guys, and I've never been hit that hard. Holy shit. Okay. Real quick. Oh God. I don't want to talk about the other scorecard from a different fight. We don't have to talk about it. Okay. So now. Oh God. What the Holy shit. Holy shit, guys. This is worse than I thought. Real quick. Okay. I've made my piece on that, why it needs to. This is more important. Let's talk about this. I did not know that this was the score. I thought it was 29-27 in favor of Menifield. It was 29-27 in favor of Crute. It was 29-27 in favor of Crute. Derek clearly gave the second round of this fight to Jimmy Crute. That's fucking criminal. He was rocked 4 times, 5 times. He was pushed off his feet. The control time was 2 minutes and 23 seconds to the 1 minute and 30 seconds of Crute. So he had a minute. Let's just even knock that off. Let's just say it was even. Who's got the damage in this round? Alonzo Menifield. Not even close. 25-10 in favor in terms of strikes. And now, I know what you're saying. Numbers don't mean everything. Go watch that second round and you tell me those 25 strikes don't mean anything. They were clearly more damaging because they were closer to finishing Crute than Crute was ever to finishing Menifield in this round. It was not close. This is worse than what I thought. I thought he gave the third round to Menifield. Holy shit. Dude, I don't know if anybody's even going to talk about this. This needs to be this is bad. This is bad. I don't know how this happened. I don't. Derek clearly, this guy has surpassed Adelaide Bird. No, she was bad. Yeah, okay. She's passed him and Saul D'Amato. He has passed both of those dingalings. Saul's been doing. I've been calling him out for doing a good job as of recently. He's made a few mistakes, but a lot of referees have made a few mistakes. Okay. Sorry, a lot of judges have made a few mistakes. It's okay. Mistakes are made. I mean, you could be wrong, and you can take your criticisms for it, but mistakes are made. When you're consistently bad, though, then, there's a pattern and something needs to be done about it. This is more than a pattern. This is downright ineptitude. This is not me being hyperbolic. I'm not being, maybe that's not even the right word for it. I don't, glib, I guess would be the right word. I'm not trying to make lightly of this, and I'm not joking. I don't know if Derek clearly in this situation, I don't know if he's aware of the judging criteria or the rule set of the sport. I am being genuine right now. How he could give Jimmy Crute this second round, I'll talk about it tomorrow, but if he was one of the guys on the very first fight, holy shit, man. Good job, Ben Cartledge. Good job, David Leatherby. Excellent call, both you guys. Excellent. Good job. Figure calling out a guy doing a bad job, call out the two guys doing the good job here. So, man, I don't know. I don't need to go back and watch that second round. I just watched it and I know plenty what happened. There's no fucking way. No way. Unbelievable. That's unbelievable. God, it's good that didn't affect the fight. Could you imagine if Jimmy Crute got the win? The foul and all, like the correct decision here was 28-28, unless you gave one of those first two rounds a 10-8 in favor of Menifield for nearly finishing it. I didn't see it that way, but if you did, there's an argument to be made that he won that fight if he had a 10-8 in one of those rounds. So, other than that, though, 28-28 is the correct answer. Holy shit. Like, could you imagine, though? Like, Jimmy Crute did not win this fight. Holy shit, guys. This guy, I think he needs to be investigated. Again, I'm not being glib. I'm not joking around. I think someone needs to look into not his credentials, needs to look into his history. They need to look into his connections. Is he part of a betting lot? There's got to be something going on when you're this consistent. The best case scenario is he's incompetent, completely incompetent. That's the best case scenario. Holy shit. Sorry to end on such a downer. I didn't realize I swear I did not know that he gave the round to Jimmy Crute. I thought he gave the last round to Menifield, and I was gonna be like, what an idiot. This is worse. Oh man. Wait a minute. Yeah, because that would have given him 9. Yeah, that would have been 29 to 27. Yeah. Yeah, that could have been that way. Anyway, all right. Thank you guys so much for making it this far. If you're looking for the prelims, it's going to be in the next video. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. If you haven't already, if you thought you like this stuff, if you like this kind of thing, you like me ranting and raving about crap, subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out. I do 2 or 3 videos every single week covering the UFC, Bellator, 1FC. It really depends on the kind of fights that are happening. I'm not more selective. I am watching more things than I have been in the past. Okay, so I'll venture out and watch a 1FC once the PFL starts back up with their main series. I'll start watching that again and cover that. I really enjoy that. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for watching. If this is the only video you watch this week, thank you. It means a lot to me. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I love y'all.